What is up, everybody? This is Alex from IHE TV, and I want to talk to you about the A24 horror movie Bring Her Back, a new film by what they call Raka Raka. Let me double check. The Raka Raka dudes, a couple of Aussie brothers who released the excellent Talk to Me, and following it up, proving that they're not a one-hit wonder with Bring Her Back. Quite a different movie. I don't think everyone who loves Talk to Me will feel the same about this movie, but that's one of the things I like to see from emerging filmmakers, is a sense of range, that you can play with these certain familiar blocks in the horror space and rearrange them in kind of unique and creative new spins on things we might have seen before in different ways. But the new elements that they kind of sprinkle in here invigorate it and lead to quite an unsettling, disgusting film with some scenes that have really stuck with me. Gotta compliment the cast first and foremost. I think Sally Hawkins does an incredible performance here, actually. She, not that that's new to see from her, but I like how it kind of goes against type, using her friendly warmness and putting a bit of a spin on that. Amazing casting decision there. And I won't talk about spoilers quite yet, but a sympathetic character that quickly loses that sympathy with the angles they go with it. Instead of Talk to Me, which had more of a kind of haunted item approach, and part of the plot is going into the lore of this item and who has had it before and what it does and the mechanics of it, the approach to the rules of like the necromancy that's implied from the name and the poster is really clever, and an angle I haven't quite seen before this way. And without spoiling anything, I'll say there's a little bit of sprinkling of something like Martyrs in there. Much more claustrophobic and suffocating than Talk to Me, which felt a little bit bigger, a little bit more energetic and lively. But again, that overlap of these younger characters, these brothers, Danny and Michael, seem to work really well with kid actors, or at least younger actors. They're not quite kids, sort of more teenagers. But Billy Barrett's a really great, sympathetic lead kind of perspective character, with the heart of the movie being his relationship with his sister, Piper, who has a disability. She's blind, effectively. She can kind of see shapes and a bit of color, and the camera work emphasizes that in clever ways at points. Actually, there's lots of good camera work in the movie, but it doesn't feel like the disability is being weaponized cheaply. Like, there's obviously on a human level, you're going to feel more sympathy for a character like her, but you also can't take this character out of the movie without it falling apart. It's kind of built around how the manipulation in the movie is structured, which I thought was quite clever and empathetic and well done. Seeing as we're on the kid actors, this Jonah Wren Phillips, who's kind of responsible for a lot of the body horror and the freakier stuff in the movie, is excellent. You can see it kind of from some of the pictures here. It's not as flashy with the violence and how kind of big it gets at points in Talk to Me, but I loved the slow burn, bubbling feeling, especially of the first two acts. I keep contrasting it to Talk to Me, and there were a couple of moments, like things I would mostly call nitpicks, because I thought it was really great. But there were a couple moments in that movie where I was like, the mechanics or logic jumps here pulled me out for just a moment. I didn't really have that with this movie. Despite, I still think I probably would rewatch Talk to Me before this, just because it is so, I guess, energetic in comparison, as I was getting at. Some good recurring imagery with the circle around their house and the window with the blood. I like when there's ongoing through lines that aren't always verbally explained. It knows exactly. They seem to understand that the best part of horror is often the restraint, where you choose to draw that line as far as like how far you're going to explain what is going on. What keeps it scary is often not knowing too much, and they really do a good job with that here. The implication is often scarier than the literal stuff, at least for me. So I think I'll talk about some spoilers now. So I definitely would recommend this if you're a fan of horror. If you enjoyed Talk to Me, it's not really the same vibe as that film, but a similarly good horror concept, some great performances, camera work, lighting, blocking. It's very well made. So a couple of the spoilers I need to talk about. The knife scene. That, like, just even thinking about it right now is making me curl my toes into a ball, because it's so well done. It comes out of, it's not even nowhere. It just kind of catches you off guard more so. It sideswipes you. And I had my hands on my head. It was so vile to me. Just anything to do with like knives and in like a kid's mouth of all things. It's like so brutal. And there's a scene kind of like that in Talk to Me. But this one I think was actually more effective because, yeah, there was a lot of bubbling, building tension in the background and it reaching a peak there of like, what is this? What is going on with this kid? Because Sally Hawkins keeps watching these videotapes of some like culty ritual or something, another horror trope I kind of love when there's some implied law, there's some rule book, the Necronomicon or whatever, and on the restraint, I do love that that's just kind of the implication is that this is a desperate mother, someone who, up until the loss of her daughter, was a productive, important member of society, but the loss of her daughter kind of drove her mad. And so I guess she somehow found these videotapes and through her connections with the foster care system was able to get these kids under her care and using them, as the title suggests, to bring back her dead daughter. And the fact she's not very good at it, unlike a Martyrs, where there's a bit more kind of organization and understanding of this end goal and how they're going to get there, this feels way more scatterbrain and like it is just one individual who's kind of bad at being a necromancer and it's not working right. And the sympathy you have for this little kid, the Jonah Wren Phillips, who you do see the true character of towards the end of the movie, is so sad. And yeah, the whole direction they take all the kid characters is actually so sad and dark, and it's definitely not a positive ending. It's really fucked up in a way. Some of the best horror movies are allowed to be, or probably should be. Love that runtime. I love the freaky gaslighting manipulation that Sally Hawkins is doing, like basically getting these kids drunk and convincing him that he's pissing himself, and what she does with that body spray is so psycho. And man, I gotta say, respect to her for doing the Aussie accent and just setting it in Australia again. I love that they're just able to do that. More films in Australia, please. I want the widest representation of locations and places in the world, so it's not just London and New York. I want to see everywhere. So I'm really happy that these guys have kind of carved out their niche, it seems like, of these violent, fucked up Australian horror films, and I hope this is doing well and we get to see more of it. So yeah, I think I will leave it at that. This was fantastic. I would happily watch it again. Let me know your thoughts. These dudes are definitely one to watch. See you next time. Bye.